Hello guys, welcome back to the COVID Dragon Gaming Reaction here. Today we are watching something called the most disturbing series nobody knows exists, the story of Shroompie. I've watched a bit to like the 30 minutes, but it's quite a bit sad and it's like physical, showing physical health and like deep deprived and like not knowing. So there was like problems. You made me want to get off.
Recently,
I just want to say something about Minecraft. I want to trade it. I think it's cool, but there's another thing. I want them to have rubies, right? They just like rubies for another item of it. Villages and all traded to you. But here's something. I think I want to trade it should be more lawful and more helpful. Like they have every flower, but not the like ones that snippets can sniff. Hey yo. And like old slime balls. Hey yo, like the lava slime balls, showing they can go in the nether. Making lore. And like a cool thing one could add is like a book, just a comic book of just words and pictures of like the wandering villagers like talking and like in like enchanted state where you can just like encrypted. I don't know how to say it. We can see pictures like a picture of one trader with a restaurant, and it could help me to go on to an ancient city where I could get a trim, making more law, which no longer trader could have an old, like a trim, making it more useful, like being sitting trim, but it'll be very rare to get. And I think, and it have like all the nether mushrooms, right? And it could be seen like writing on there. A scribe, right? Some red things that can walk on lava, making all your legs go into the nether as well. And I think I've seen an old video, but the one time ago called the Hill of Mango, where have hills along between elevators. Of like a green villager and government was actually special, let's say, and he turned into the wandering villager, which became the new secret organisation. I think it'd be cool if they upgraded the villager and pillagers, and all the claims, you know the pillagers, when they attack, one of their arms goes out to attack. The same as villagers and one of the traders, put their arms out when they pull it emerald out, they put stuff on it, where you can trade. And I think it'd be cool if guys who want to trade have their ability potion, but they have strength 1 potion, speed 1 potion too. And they have an iron sword, making it more like there actually is a single organisation. That'll be cool. Making for sword to couch.
surfing through YouTube, looking for a cool piece of Minecraft horror media to watch. Amidst all the fog walking simulators and the mass-produced Andrew Slop, I found a channel.
It's just like a lot of these are like mostly religion. Like but maybe tone down with like being like it's God. Like you just say it tone down for maybe a year or two or 3. Then it'll get like shocking that it's like God. Like it's you religious. And I think and like just people saying Herobrine or like someone's like Herobrine or like copy of Herobrine. They use it too much. Like let's say just like Bright or like Hero Steve or like someone's entity or someone who acts like Herobrine. Like they can say the ability acts like Herobrine, but they're called with a new name.
And I found and
Shroompie.
by accident, I think.
Isn't it?
By surprise. Shroompie
Isn't it?
is the name. And I found
strange, a Shroompie picture looks like this was an iron clip. I don't know, that may be coincidence, and it's like click on that
to
right.
A cutesy art project made in Minecraft,
That's hanging around, man.
not have been real. And what I'm about to say was said in hundreds of other ARG analysis have videos like this.
Damn, that water have huge on the top of these, boy. Not strange, Chris.
Other ARG analysis have videos like this who have used this beaten to death template for an intro, and it lasted to me, and I kind of did it once, but this time I need you to trust me, listen to me, and believe me when I say that it actually turned out to be the most disturbing thing I have found on this platform made through the Minecraft.
I feel like you could say one of these disturbing things, but you don't know, you haven't watched it. But like, still, like, because, but still, if you see an article and you do a reaction, they say, there's one of the horrible things. Like the first one, like, there's a horrifying thing I see. But if you see something way more horrifying, you say this is
It is
not
the
a horrifying
darkest,
thing.
most disturbing, nerve-wracking,
Okay, I think it's a
absolutely
pin.
heart-wrenching story hidden away on a channel
8,000 with only 200. Usually analog or with YouTube channels only have like low views. People watching like maybe 40, like mostly 10,000 views people watch. But damn, 226,000. Oh, look over here. See, there's something new. But when you go up here, this is a popular video. Damn!
I'm surprised no one is talking. A piece of
Alright,
social
like
media that
a YouTube channel that first is an algorithm with big views should have had a reaction or like a talk about this a while ago before. This is like a year old.
nostalgia channel that turns to a strange fever dream to then.
Okay, look at all these mushrooms, not the flowers.
It left me dumbfounded by the way it messed with my mind and how much it affected me. What we're getting into is a very complicated series with 10 tons of timeline.
There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 videos.
For you and me to figure out, as well as multiple series.
1 and 10,603 songs, 17,961 documents for a timeline.
You most likely get the picture, but just to be safe, it's going to include some
if you don't deal with anything related to mental or physical health, you might get very uncomfortable at many points. So people, listen, if you feel scared, you need to get help if you have a scared feeling.
Roblox? Earn Roblox digital gift cards with Microsoft.
Roblox needs to do better with their protection of child service.
The channel's description is pretty simple.
Shroompie, description, measurement of oddities. How much more preferences can you play? B, 1.73. It's pretty because they play an older version, this full screen. Shroom, right? 0. Wonderful. W. And then.
Minecraft oddities.
No.
I make Minecraft videos. Currently playing beta 1.7.3. Shroompie consists of 32 videos.
Why don't you just react to like just a YouTube video? Why don't they make documents? Which is strange. With monster terrifying or moving the sanity, zone wrong, night strong. Nothing unusual. It is a religion thing. This looks like the cross, right? The cross. And what's that? Is that a black figure? Is that a ring? I think that may be nothing, but there is red lines there. Okay, so some of those is up. Look at all these mushrooms. Nothing
I try to breeze through as there's not much.
I don't care about them, they could have mushrooms. An older version, but not like the whole floor is covered in it.
The first video titled Sometimes
a mushroom too.
My World Feels On was posted on October 28th of 2024 with the description simply stating on, with a bunch of mushroom emojis and them saying they bought.
Oh, that's good. Is that Shroompie next to a big mushroom?
Use it.
That's cute.
The video is a slideshow showing
look, mushrooms there too.
Space and random things.
You may say no, but okay. Hey!
We can't really get many
1, 2, 3, 4, crazy
details from it, besides
that there seems to be mushrooms. It's do you see the old thing now? There's tons of mushrooms up there. Which I don't know if back in the day in 1.17 mushrooms, you could place mushrooms on like floors at any type of blocking floor. But it's strange, why would you have tons of mushrooms here? But maybe here it could be for decorations, or right here it's very random. You have these mushrooms, and these don't even play, right? They're easily placed. And here, a mushroom too, and here's a real mushroom.
The atmosphere
and a tons of mushrooms here. Same color.
Base looks a little low, but that's very easy to achieve with VHS filter and old Minecraft screenshots and music. For now, nothing out of the ordinary. On the same day, sometimes worlds get forgotten was posted. It
you forget. You make a world and you just forget.
Walking atop a mountain, appearing like maybe there looking for something, or maybe scouting out a potential building spot. As the sun begins setting, looking for something, or maybe scouting out a potential building spot.
I don't think so, because there's a walker. Maybe he's just walking around, because I was thinking it was the start off before saying this, but now look, maybe more concentrated.
The song Key plays again. Alongside it, the VHS filter grows in intensity. Once the track ends, it fills up the screen while Shroompie walks to the edge of the mountain and stares. A day later, on October 29th, we get another upload. You are a stranger to this world. Shroompie continues to include mushroom emojis and the...
It's strange, he has an icon of him, like a head wearing a mushroom, and just mushrooms.
The song used for the video,
and the icon of this video of this guy reacting to it has a theme play being controlled by mushrooms.
While you try to carve out a safe space to call home. The video doesn't have much in it. It's a player wandering through a world with a random set of items in their inventory. The track Key once again accompanies them while they walk. However, the song isn't long enough to cover the entire video, and at some point, all we're left with is the uncomfortable silence of the world and buzzing coming from the VHS tape.
No, it's getting dark as well. No. Okay, wait. Oh, thank God. Because I've seen a picture of like the cross, but it kind of looks like the cross. It seems like it's pointing, but down, but I don't. Okay, I thought that was a mushroom. What the? Okay.
Shroompie walks into nightfall in the video. Hence, the next two uploads are nearly identical to each other, only distinguishable by the lack of the filter on the second one. Minecraft nostalgia, but you don't reminisce, you live it. It's a slideshow with a lot of screenshots from Shroompie's world that features almost all pictures from the first video except two. If you pay very close attention, you can actually see the area where their base was made, but before any buildings were created, and also the mountain where the last video ended. This leads me to believe it's some sort of photo time-lapse, and you should probably look out for the rest of the images going forward. The next video, and you should probably look out for the rest of the images going forward. The next video is titled, Are You Okay? And here we can introduce
the wisdom of the wise sheep. Oh yeah, wait. It's just some, because in the Minecraft movie, like the guy was talking to a sheep saying, this must be some kind of ancient person, like a pink sheep, but like white sheep.
To our first character of the series, heed the wisdom of the wise sheep.
Claire?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
You stuck or something?
No. Look, you just got it. Okay.
It's the nostalgia again, huh? It's what C418's music does to people. It's just too busy to kill.
Okay. B418 is useful, and again it's mushrooms, because I've just picked it up, but like, I've seen tons of mushrooms.
Look, it's crying. Listen, dwelling in the past is pointless. You will never go back to the good old days, but you can create the good present days. Stop standing like an oak tree. Don't let nostalgia consume you. Act. Your time is limited. Use it wisely. Heed my words. Let's go.
Okay, that's sweet. The pig just looks and just walks back.
You realize your time is limited. But C418 just hits so hard.
Yeah, man, but like...
You can't help but think that one day you will place your last block without realizing it. Shroopy is clearly in distress. They're standing motionless in the middle of a forest,
Maybe he has guilt of like someone who lost
listening to
dying.
C418's Clark. In the distance, we can see their base. For some reason, they stopped dead in their tracks and they're refusing to move. A sheep walks into frame and talks to Shroopy, or as they call them, Player. Somehow, Sheep figures out what's going on and decides to give Player advice. Sheep tries to soothe and console them about their sadness over old memories, saying they should focus on making the present be worthy of becoming those good old days in the future. The Player knows the dangers of letting nostalgia fester in their mind, but they just can't shake off the awful feeling of knowing that one day they're gonna play for one last time. Are You Okay is a very intriguing video. It may seem a little silly and as generic as it can get.
I think it's like when you say you last block being taken, like the last time you have, right? Like the last thing you're gonna do before you die.
Placing your one last block messaging. But I couldn't help but notice a few things that made it feel just a little bit off. Like it's something more than just nostalgia bait. The sheep isn't presented as a normal mob. It appears to be aware it's in a game. It knows the music composer, talks about nostalgia and how bad it can be for the human spirit. It recognizes the character as Player and knows his gender. And lastly, it says two things that are surprisingly uncomfortable. At the 15-second mark, a strange whining white noise plays, like a cassette or a VHS tape being played back. And the sheep says, "At least he's too busy to kill me." It comes out of nowhere, and it honestly goes in one ear and goes out the other. By the end, you forget it was said because it was so out of left field. The other thing is the acknowledgement of the Player crying while staring directly onto them, like it knows what the person behind the screen is doing. See what I mean? It's such a silly video in retrospect, but there's just enough weirdness to keep you interested and to not skip the channel. For now, we have to move on, but definitely keep this video in mind. When you come back to your Minecraft world after a break is a short one, only 19 seconds long, and it consists of Shroopy, or Player, showing a little sign saying subscribe if you love Minecraft, and then proceeding to jump from a cliff in their base. They expected to land in a moat they thought they built, but they overestimated how big it was and landed on the ground, depleting half their health. It's a confusing upload, to be sure, but it's not a lot, so I can't tell you much about it either. Next is Creepers Feel Lonely Too. Shroopy builds a moat that they thought was already built, and you can notice they've definitely spent a little bit of time playing. You can tell by a dugout tunnel that in the previous video was barely touched. Shroopy's focused on building their moat, and they don't hear a creeper sneak up on them. It explodes, and they have a pretty strong reaction. While the video itself is pretty normal, when we take a look at the thumbnail, we see that apparently the creeper spoke to them before exploding.
Listen. Wait. I like to think it's like this. Time was like, listen. You. What? You.
We see that apparently the creeper spoke to them before exploding. LYCCS DCFOYU. I instantly looked for any signs of the ciphers that I'm aware of. I then put it through a decoder, thought that maybe it's some very obscure language, but I found nothing. However, since the next video's title is Creeper Spoke to Me, we might get some clues very soon. I think a creeper spoke to me, but I couldn't make out a word. I should seek the wise sheep to help me decipher those words. Or maybe it was just my imagination. Maybe I should go to sleep.
Creeper?
A mushroom here and there. I've seen mushrooms everywhere.
What do you want?
It seems like it's falling again.
I won't let you in.
Let's see the people. Out. It's like mushrooms. Oh, that scared me.
What did it say?
It's gone.
Seems like it's gone.
Shroompie is trapped inside the hut
Mushroom.
we've seen in screenshots from previous uploads. They're dealing with a creeper looking at them from the outside and following their
It
every
could be
move.
his
When they leave the hut
imagination.
to possibly try to kill it or lure it away, the creeper speaks to Shroompie, or more accurately, to Player. Whenever the person speaks, the name Player shows up instead. It's like they adopted that name from when the wise sheep spoke to them. Looking at what the creeper said, it's once again a cipher, one that looks identical to the cipher we've seen before. It's still illegible, and even Shroompie, or Player, doesn't understand what it said. They hear it, but don't know what it could possibly mean. The creeper proceeds to fall into a cave, but before Player can take a look at it, a rewind sound plays, and they're moved a bit further away. They start walking back to the hut, but before they can make it, the video cuts after the VHS effect strengthens, and we see the creeper reappear in the window in the last few frames. We got some more lines of the cipher from the creeper here, but the video doesn't push us further into solving what this could mean. However, if we take a closer look into its description, we can notice a link to a video called Are You Sure You Want to Know? Player has gone out looking for the wise sheep to seek help with understanding Creeper's words. He's been looking for a whole day, but he cannot find them. He stumbles upon a cave, and he has a pretty fearful reaction.
No. Not the dark, suspicious caves.
He begins to question whether the things he heard from the creeper were real or not, and says he should probably think it over after getting some sleep. This marks the second time he attributes weird things happening due to lack of sleep. Just as he decides to give up his search, the wise sheep appears up ahead.
What a coincidence.
What brought you to me, Player?
I need your help. I think a creeper spoke to me,
I've got a dog. It could be coincidence. Hot warm.
but I didn't understand anything.
What did it say?
It said, and
Are you sure you want to know the meaning?
now that you're asking,
To know or not to know? Which do you choose?
I want to know.
Then here's a riddle of unveiling truth. Keys are within your grasp. Your fingertips will guide the path. The music greater meaning holds. Listen till the truth unfolds.
The player was left confused as he hoped for a straightforward answer.
At least you have more time to decide if you truly want to know.
Thank you, wise sheep. You're truly wise.
You're just a sheep.
Yes. Why sheep? Can you tell me? Should I boil? When I make the macaroni and cheese, should I put the cheese packet in the sauce when it's boiling? Or after?
The player stood still, watching the sunset, pondering which is better,
Neither is better.
to remain ignorant or learn the truth that
You tell me
turn
what
your
it's
world
about.
upside down.
The true better would have to go to sleep instead of looking for me.
I know. But the anxiety of that wouldn't let me sleep.
Right. You won't sleep tonight.
The player wondered if it was too late to pretend nothing ever happened.
Too late. Unless you're dreaming.
The player wondered if he was actually dreaming.
Wait, how do you know what I'm thinking?
Okay, there is a bit to unpack here. First of all, This is probably not just nothing unusual anymore, and it seems like we're starting to see a story forming in front of us. Second, we've got a riddle to solve that apparently will help us understand the mysterious cipher, plus we have another encoded message right at the end of the video. The keys are within your grasp. Your fingertips will guide the path. The music greater meaning holds. Listen till the truth unfolds. Okay, so the music has been an often highlighted part of the series. Whenever there was a song present, it would be credited in the description. Looking at the free videos in which the cipher appears, only 2 have songs. A Creeper Spoke to Me has the song Dog, Are You Sure You Want to Know has Sweden, and Creepers Feel Lonely Too has Nothing. One of them not having a song is a bit worrying, but we still have to figure out what even the purpose of...
I always thought Minecraft was American, right? Now it's Swedish, But, and Ninjago's Denmark, right? Man, Sweden must get tons of money, right? Around, right? They're now one of the greatest empires in Europe, but now they're one of the greatest games ever. And now I think they may be even more great. They may be taking the #1 spot or something with most players. As Fortnite may just been like, just more processing of collabs, shouting at you, right? Like making you not want to play. And the collab's good, but what about law? And like Roblox, like the A rating, they haven't been doing great, and they're getting banned, like destroying the kind of things and like expensive. They just want money, right? Right, but Minecraft always has problems, but they're actually still good. Like you're just trying to keep it the same, and they're working. If they get right, they're trying to add stuff at reasonable level. Because like the caves update, it took so long because you have this big thing, right? Let's say they just added this tiny thing, like maybe a new thing, like a sniffer, right? Let's say they just added this tiny thing, like just maybe, I don't know, like new dye, or this update the looks, like the dye again. It like tiny things work. It helps keep you going, but it's easy to. The end update is most. I think why they don't do the end update is because it's like update the end. It's gonna take so long because they may keep it like at the end, maybe banned, but they don't change it. They got yes, but they keep it the same. Like, and it's hard. They think what to do. Like, they have to make the end slightly more harder, but they need to do stuff. Like, to have to keep it the same, like getting a lot of people angry. Well, changing it a bit, but still keeping it the same.
At first I thought it would be a fully musical cipher. Maybe the notes of the songs played on a keyboard or a piano could somehow...
Don't come in!
translate the messages. But
sorry,
the
just
keys
my
are within
mom.
your grasp wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Not everybody has a musical instrument within their grasp. And then I realized, oh yeah, what is a thing with keys everybody has close by while watching and uses fingertips to operate it? Well, technically, also a keyboard. We have songs, a keyboard, and the knowledge our fingertips will guide the path. So, let's say the song Sweden corresponds with IJBOH, which was what the sheep said at the end of this video. Both Sweden and the phrase have 6 letters. Maybe we need to move 6 letters on the keyboard. we have to make a path, I guess. If we move 6 keys to the right, the phrase gives us just a jumble of nothingness. But if we go to the left, it spells out W-A-K-E-U-P. Wake up. Now,
What? No A and no N and B.
the cipher is based on specific songs and the amount of letters in their names. If we go to the video with dog, I assume it's going to be 3 keys. L-Y-C-D-E-Y with 3 keys to the left spells out help me, and D-C-Y-F-G-Y spells out please. Okay, we got it. Now we can come back to the thumbnail, which after decoding says hello player. Another mob is specifically calling Shroompie player. Or maybe I'm wrongly calling player Shroompie. I mean, do they call Shroompie player because they see them as a player? Or is it their actual name? Is there even a distinction? Also, what do the other messages mean? Why would the creeper need help? And why is it so urgent? The sheep said, wake up. So does that mean player is dreaming? Or is it more of like a wake-up call wanting player to notice something? This is getting weird. There is one other thing from this video worth pointing out. Player doesn't like caves that much. At all, actually. We don't have an explanation why the fear is there and why is it so strong, but a thing I picked up on is the VHS filter spikes right before he enters and goes down once he leaves. It lingers for a while up to the middle of the screen and then drops to the bottom. It has been doing that in the previous video a tiny bit, but I thought it might have been the animation looping. Well, when we look closer on the times it spiked in here and the previous video, it only does whenever something stressful happens. They hit the creeper and get a little startled, they go back to the hut and the creeper is there again, so they don't want to go into a cave, they panic, an uncomfortable question is asked, a realization they won't sleep again tonight sets in. I think the VHS filter has some functionality to it. It might be telling us how the character feels in the moment, or at least if they're anxious about something happening to them. If proven true, it might be useful in the future. When you suddenly notice and appreciate how beautiful it is.
There are times when you're so busy building your world.
This is a weird position to make a moat.
Suddenly.
You just look at the beauty of the build. Man. What the? Wait, these are actually very like them. They're just perfectly sane. It's like a game for it. That's hard to do, right? But it could be just a day that other world.
And you feel happy to be a part of this world. Even for a brief moment.
This video is a lot more mellow and seems to be about the player, or Shroompie since it's not specified, finding their world beautiful in a moment of bliss.
This is marked by the news of thought and stillness of the night. But
The player tried to fall asleep, but unfortunately, insomnia wouldn't let him. A strange song was playing in his head, a melody he was sure he'd never heard before. Strange sounds. Were they real? Hallucinations? The player wouldn't know, as he wasn't even sure whether he was dreaming or trying to dream.
come on. Okay, so now this gets annoying. Good thing they stopped doing this. What the?
Insomnia gives us a few clues and a few new questions to answer at the same time, and it definitely leaves us just as dazed and confused as it does
They give
Player.
a
Player
clue,
goes
they give
into their little
more
hut and tries
answers
desperately
that
to
are
fall asleep,
unanswered.
while the disc chirp plays in the background. A music disc that did not exist in the game until Beta 1.9 pre-release 2, and was unobtainable until
It's too
release
behind.
1.1. The description tells us that the player has never heard the melody before and it's foreign to them. So how and why is it playing at that very moment? Whenever the player tries to go to sleep, the VHS filter spikes, and shortly after they get woken up by mobs. The first time they click the bed, the text, "This bed is occupied," appears, to which again the VHS filter spikes. The text is not fully visible, but it's safe to assume it is that prompt. This could be a sign that this is not actually happening and the bed is occupied because the player is already in it, having a nightmare of having to go through the process of trying to sleep again. After their final kill, their axe breaks, and as they lay down on the bed, the screen begins to shake and we hear footsteps approaching the house. Then someone opens the door and starts breaking the block while a coded message pops up on the screen. Translating it by using the cipher with the name Chirp, we get, "Have you forgotten?" Not only do we not know who that was, but we don't know their intentions or what they meant by this pretty ominous message. So, we're clearly dealing with someone with a sleeping disorder or someone who is starting to develop one. The protagonist has been showing awareness of this problem, claiming weird happenings and their bad sleeping habits, and here we get the ultimate confirmation that something is terribly wrong. Their lack of sleep is so bad that they're starting to not discern reality from dream, possibly hallucinating a song playing that they've never heard before. This still doesn't really answer the question of what were the oddities in this video and the previous one. Were they actually hallucinations we've been perceiving for the protagonist's eyes? Were they dreams? Is what they're even saying true? At this point, we can't be sure. The next video is Night Strong. It's 3 minutes of Shroompie silently walking around their base for no apparent reason.
See, so many mushrooms.
It's more of a break before the next video, a long and significant one in the series. A little longer. Player is on the way back to his base after refilling buckets for the month. For some reason, a big group of pigs have spawned right where he wanted to continue building. Player seems to be confused, but not unfamiliar with the pigs. They start talking about the moat, and things go a little sideways.
Pigs?
Oh, God. Americans!
Hello, player. What are you doing? Just hanging around.
Thought you were feeling lonely.
I don't feel lonely. I'm busy building a boat.
Why?
Yes, why not a boat? Well,
Protection.
feel safe. Mostly from creepers.
Right, woody stocks abroad. Wait. Sleeping disorders, like, people would like, when people with sleeping disorder drink a lot of water. Isn't that true? Wait. If you craft iron armor, right? Like, this one's a three, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why is there no? But like times 3 by now, 27. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, meaning 13. And there's 7 4 pants, meaning 20. With them 24. They could have made a full iron armor and have 3 left for a pickaxe. Either a pickaxe, an axe, a hoe and a shovel, or a sword and a shovel.
I think your friend died. Hold on, I'll help you.
I'm fine. That hurt.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to save you.
Wouldn't you kill me anyways? If I
What?
wasn't trapped?
Maybe, but now it's different. I don't want to see you drown in front of me. That should help you escape.
Like to fill the bucket.
They should be fine.
Yeah.
The conversation is awkward and tense, especially with the words,
If you
"A
could
moat
have
won't
like
save you
no
from the
friends,
inevitable," and "Wouldn't you kill me anyways if I wasn't trapped?" As I said, it appears that Player and the group of pigs already know each other to some extent. It feels like there's a conflict between them. Like Player might have done something to them in the past. Some pigs are definitely friendlier towards him than the others, but it's all just tense. At one point, one of the pigs drowns, though that doesn't trigger any big reaction out of anybody. Shortly after, Player tries to help another pig out of the moat, but they don't accept the help, and Player goes back to refill the buckets once again. When he comes back, there's more pig meat at the bottom of the moat. All but 2 of them drowned. One pig is still in the moat and starts bashing Player for what he's done, to which he answers with silence.
Why did you do this? No.
Pig,
Family.
what? It's not his fault. He was actually trying to help you, pig.
Player seems like a
It's your
completely
fault,
different person.
bitch.
They start filling up the boat more and more, not caring about the pig, going into his house, cooking their remains, and questioning why he even bothered to try to save them. In the background, you can hear the second last pig fully drown. About half a minute later, Dry Hand starts playing. Player realizes now it does feel a little weird and lonely without them. A few days pass, and a pig shows up at Player's doorstep. Specifically,
More
Pig
mushrooms!
5.
Were you sure you want to be here?
Yeah.
They both walk out of the house and go to a weird monument-like structure
another
built
pig.
inside the moat. Turns out it's a memorial, or a grave for Pig 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pig 5 was a part of the group. He walks around distressed and keeps jumping in the water while Player puts the pieces of the meat left from the pigs in a chest.
This show's free.
What are you doing? I don't want to add End Pig 5. I understand it's hard, but you have to move on.
Why?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
It's okay.
Leave as long and as much as you need.
Please do stuff to people they don't
Player goes
like,
back to the
man.
house straight away without a word, while Pig 5 stays near the memorial. Player looks
More
back at him
mushrooms.
and says, Pig 5 stays near the memorial. Player looks
Almost all the floor is covered by mushrooms.
back at him and says,
Each time we go in this room in this episode, it keeps on growing and growing. But oh no. Think more mushrooms, but
the screen cuts to Player in front of the grave. Now with
Wait.
Pig 5
this is like a thing for Tiny Hopper. It's getting bigger. There's another one.
added to the side. A Little Lonely is a video with a lot going on, and currently we don't
Like
have
a
much to go
quarter
on, but we can
Okay,
theorize, of
no.
course. The group of pigs is the main thing the video revolves around, and we have to figure out who they are from the perspective of Player. We know they're aware of each other's existence, but we don't know the exact relationship between them. In the first part of the video, when Player first comes back from refilling the buckets, you can notice that Pig 3 and 4 try to be friendly. They go out of their way to talk to him, try to make conversation, while Pig 1 and 2 stare at him blankly and say nothing. Noticeably, there's times when the name Pig question mark is shown, and they make horrible statements and only say anything when there's a chance to insult Player, or only when they really need to respond. I think the question mark could be attributed to Pig 1 and 2, since they're barely mentioned. They're in the first 5 seconds, and later on the grave. It's like Player doesn't see much difference between them, and it's hard for him to tell them apart, so he gives them a question mark. They also don't engage in any conversation with him. They don't speak to him directly. Only Pig 3, 4, and 5 do. There's also the sixth pig, but they never come up as a name. They're in the background, watching. Player's attitude towards the pigs, on the other hand, was changing left and right. At first, he was defensive and wasn't sure what they were doing there. Then he tried helping them, and then once most of them died, his mood changed instantly to not caring and almost loathing them, only for it to change back minutes later when he started to miss them when they were truly gone. What I'm thinking is maybe the pigs were checking up on Player because they know he's struggling. The sheep certainly do, so why wouldn't they? The pig was present during the first video with the white sheep, so maybe it was one of the six. They'd be worried. I mean, he has those problems where he freezes and refuses to move, the sleeping problems. There was this one short video where they forgot the size of their mouth by a large margin, so maybe their memory isn't the best either. Now, mood switches. Player is obviously sick in some way. And after all, when he asked, "What are you doing here?" the pigs did say they were just hanging around, thinking he might be feeling lonely. This could have been a checkup that went horribly wrong. In the whole ordeal, Pig 5 is really interesting, because they, or should I say him, he comes back despite the entire group drowning, and he ends up dead as well. Why would he come back for such a short time and then drown like the rest of his group? Why would he come back at all, knowing 4 other pigs died just by being close to that mud? It doesn't make sense. We need more details to figure out exactly what happened here, but I feel like we have at least the foundation for what this was. Minecraft is terrifying, or I'm losing my sanity. This video is vastly different from what we've been experiencing thus far. It's the first video where we get a bit from.
Oh, human saving quick strike, human static back to game.
What we've been experiencing thus far. It's the first video where we get a voice instead of text. Well, you've been getting voices the whole time, but I put them there. None of the characters actually speak, which is the usual standard for series like this. But again, here we get an actual person talking.
Something happened that made me save and quit my game in panic, in absolute terror, and I'm still getting over it.
Shroompie, and I think it is them, talks about a creepy encounter they had. They found a pink sheep. On its own, that isn't exactly scary, but they didn't know it was even possible for it to spawn in such an old version of the game. Plus, as they came up to it, a cave noise played, and made the situation a whole lot worse.
Oh no!
To it, a cave noise played, and made the situation
I think a black one.
a whole lot worse.
I get hit by a spooky
Pink sheep was in beta 1.7, was they?
noise. The second I approach this sheep, and I panic, I save and quit. This game is killing me. This game will kill me. This is terrifying, right? I know.
They keep talking about Minecraft spooking them way too often, and out of nowhere, there's this weird, silent jump scare of a sheep's face with creepy eyes. And Shroompie has no reaction. I'm gonna show it now, so skip like 8 seconds if you don't want to see it.
And I don't know. I don't know what to do. This world is cursed.
Right afterwards, Shroompie looks over at the pink sheep, and another cave noise plays, causing them to freak out.
I should keep an eye on it. No!
Did that kill me, Shroompie?
I'm not gonna show it, but the face jump scare happens again, and then for the rest of the video, Shroompie talks about the world being oddly scary for a game like Minecraft.
This looks like a cross. Right here, almost like a cross. Upside down.
Alright, so I'm saying before, it looks like a cross.
Minecraft is one of the scariest games that have ever been created, and I'll make a
Not gonna lie, yes, I can a bit agree, like, it's kind of scary because, like, in darkness, just walking in darkness can have to get scary.
on how scary Minecraft actually is. Because this is too much for a simple sand.
It just be a column. These are similar, aren't they? Alright, let's get like maybe the first letter, like we got C. D, top, P, P, B, A, and F. Like D, P, P, B, A, and F. What? And
this is too
another
much
F.
for a
It could be a password
sandbox
or a code of
crafting building game. This is not supposed to be horror. And I experience horrors regularly.
The video is a big departure from the atmosphere of this series. It's like a showcase of a silly instance of old Minecraft being odd, and it's a little bit of a fourth wall break. Like, not exactly, but up until now we didn't have a person attached to the story that treated Minecraft like just a game. Player feels like he lives in the game, while here it's a random person playing and talking about an unsettling encounter. It's so unexpected and innocent, well, until the ending, which makes it spin right back into place. When Shroompie stops talking, the POV switches to an all too familiar looking screen.
Hopefully forget the traumatic experiences.
A 4x3 VHS tape. Shroompie said they encountered the sheep while walking around the world randomly, but the recording of it is clearly player's POV. That means this entire time we might have been watching a completely different character pretending to be someone else. Might have been watching a
Is it me? Wait. This looks like modern day looking texture.
Different character pretending to be someone else. We even see a sheep say something to Shroompie in this video, the same way they talk with player. The next video further proves this is the case. Don't Walk in the Dark is a video without either auditory or visual static. It shows Shroompie walk atop a mountain with C418's key in the background. After the final few notes, Shroompie speaks up and says whenever the track key plays, they get silent. Sounds awfully familiar. Before they can finish their sentence, they fall off a cliff and die from the impact.
If he had two personalities.
Yeah,
you know what would be cool if Minecraft just blink at you
at night.
Why? Doesn't give me that 14. Go.
Times end up.
Okay.
When people get bored, they oftentimes end up in places they are not supposed to be. They blame it on fate, as if they didn't have a choice to turn around and walk away. It's hard for them to admit that they found what they were looking for. And they chose to stay and see what happens next. alongside willful ignorance becomes their demise. I am here only to witness it. Who uses me? After all, the ghost story is too late. Become reality. It's too late. Story is too late. After all,
There's tons of dots, spotlights,
the
open.
ghost story is too late.
Fine.
Become reality. It's too late.
Okay.
Coming from A Peaceful Night is a monologue coming from an unknown narrator who talks about someone choosing to ignore whatever is happening to them while fully acknowledging they're going down a wrong path. The narrator seems to look down upon this behavior, but they're indifferent to people who choose to practice it. They observe, but do not interfere. As they speak, we stare at a pumpkin figure in a strange house, a location we've never seen before. There's a lava pool, and the house itself is a simple wooden box surrounded by flowers. After the speech, we're shown a stare down between the pumpkin head in the house and what assumingly is the narrator, a cross with 3 jackal heads. Suddenly, we cut to someone walking in a forest. They have no items and no direction in mind. They wander, gazing at the night sky, turning their eyes to see all the stars, but they land directly onto the house and the 3-headed figure. The video freezes for a second and then ends. This video doesn't specify
What the? Why is it just the pumpkin
who it
now?
targets, and we don't have enough pieces of the puzzle to find its meaning. We will just have to keep
Wait.
going, as at this
I
point
don't
the
like
videos
this.
jump
It's getting
between completely
creepier
different
and
atmospheres
creepier.
every single upload, with the timeline becoming more and more unclear. When it rains. A sheep and player talk about rain. When it rains. A sheep and player talk about rain. It's a very simple conversation. Rain makes player happy. The sheep asks him why, and he's never really thought about it, but it does. It takes his mind off.
I don't know how, but it's like when it rains and you're in the rain. For me, if I'm inside and it rains, just
Things and makes life peaceful, even if for but a moment. At the end, the video freezes once again, and we switch to nothing unusual.
There are things in this world that seem to be made with
just like something like
purpose.
a movie.
But I keep telling myself,
Okay, now say the shapiness of the sheets
but I keep
seems
telling
all weird because, like, usually you just like have white sheets, but
myself,
I see 3 pink sheets.
there's nothing unusual. It's just a coincidence. A fun to arrange it.
See, most of these sheets have pink.
That's how this world is.
I know they can be in the swing blocks, but like 4, maybe, but not in this way.
It looks like it was made with purpose. But there's no purpose in this world.
Or seeing it of 2 people.
Only chance.
Don't
That's what I keep telling
Don't
myself.
go through the cave.
But
Don't go through the cave.
sometimes his world. Player has noticed that sometimes his world feels odd. It's the little things, the quirks of all-terrain generation. The world appears to be so precise in its creation, with so many man-made looking structures, but all of it is just chance. Everything vaguely human-like is a pure accident. He tells himself there's nothing unusual, but he keeps encountering those oddities that prove him otherwise. The idea of someone else walking through Player's world and leaving little marks in the terrain constantly lingers in his mind. In the middle of the video, the camera freezes and we switch places. Player is now in a forest with no inventory, talking to a sheep. He tells him about his fears, and the sheep, instead of comforting the player, scares him, making him question the idea more and think of all the horrifying possibilities. Then the sheep starts speaking gibberish.
I understand. Player, if you believe there's nothing to do it is.
What? If you believe there is no purple, then do it is.
The void awaits you.
Two, many, play, yeah. Two, my, most enemies have you consumed. I knew it! Mushrooms. The broth. It could be like crazy. What the? What is going on?
The video derails after meeting the sheep. It starts displaying seemingly random scenes. Player goes into a cave and gets a message, a sentence written backwards. He teleports and ends up in another part of the forest where he sees a cross in the ground. The screen flickers with a visual of the cross at night filled with roses, with a bed on top of it, to then showing the very stressed out player staring at the cross in daylight. These, in quotes, scenes are very chaotic and don't make much sense strung together, so I believe this could be another dream. Additionally, the video shows things that could link it to other videos that we also suspected to be dreams. In Are You Sure You Want to Know, player has the sudden and very paranoid reaction to a cave. It could stem from what happened here. The way he goes into the cave feels like something you'd see in a dream. It's like player is being dragged into it against his will. He already didn't feel welcome in it while talking to the sheep, so walking in there again, clearly anxious, does not make sense. It's like one of those times in dreams where you know something is a bad idea, but you can't control your actions and things just happen. During his time in the cave, someone spoke to him, an unknown encrypted voice, just like the one we saw at the end of Insomnia, a video that made us aware of players' sleeping problems. And lastly, the cut in the middle of the video could be a time skip or a shift into a dream, which we saw in A Creeper Spoke to Me. These 4 videos all share this weird, perplexing nature that starts to reveal itself about halfway through. They start out normal, and they have a specific moment that triggers the weirdness to start seeping through. Then, the ending leaves us on an unsettling note with a mystery to solve or a question to answer. They all play out in a manner a dream would, and that leads me to the conclusion that this collection of 4 videos are players' dreams and nightmares. Which begs the question, which videos were real and which weren't? Even the player can't tell if they are dreaming or not, so navigating that is going to be that much more difficult. Especially since here the dream seems to start only after a cut. We don't know if the first part was happening while they were awake, or if it was just the first phase of the dream. Another issue is the identity of player, which is leaning more into the direction that him and Shroompie are the same person. They share too many specific similarities to be different, and this video includes another piece of proof for that theory. If you remember, in Minecraft is Terrifying or I'm Losing My Sanity, Shroompie talked about Minecraft being simply too scary, in a way that isn't natural. If we go back and listen to their exact words, they said they were going to make a video one day that talks about why the game is so unsettling, and while talking about that, they mentioned a naturally generated cross shape. The similarities are too perfect for them to be coincidences. We are not looking at two different people. Player has to be some sort of alter ego that Shroompie made up. An alter ego that goes through so many terrible things. But why? Could this be a way to cope with their problems? Or maybe this is another issue related to their mood swings and personality changes? But then, why would they create a persona for issues that are only directly developing in their Minecraft world? One thing is for sure, whoever we're looking at, their health is declining, and it's about to get worse. Player is in his house, thinking about how calm his base has been for a while now, expressing that, though it has been peaceful,
mushrooms. Like, the mysterious sentence says, you don't know that the mushrooms are consuming
worried
you.
he might have forgotten about something. He looks into a chest and gets confused. There's a few pork chops inside, and he apparently doesn't eat those. He doesn't even remember killing a pig in the first place. He looks up from the chest to see the night has turned foggy.
Not shrooms. For some reason, it makes me feel uneasy.
He feels slightly unnerved, because
Why isn't he saying anything about the
fog has
mushrooms?
always made him feel watched, like someone is outside waiting for him. Just thinking about the idea made him too anxious not to check, so he walks out the door, the music cuts, and he sees
A pig? What was that? This pig. It looks familiar. The water smells weird. It smells like flesh. And what is this monument? Did I build it? Who are you?
You know who I am.
No. Why are you doing this? I tried to. I can do it now. I can fix this.
Pig 5 drowns, this time right in front of Player's eyes. Now he stands, frozen, memories of Pig 5 flashing briefly, with encoded messages using the Rot 5, or the more known name, the Caesar cipher.
You can't change the past. But you can change your memories of it. You can distort and reshape them however you want.
Okay, like, I mean, you could forget about it, but you never do.
Convince yourself that's how it truly was. That's what everyone does, willingly or not.
Dude, is that figure
It's
was?
inevitable. But it may happen that amidst all the fog, you may find what you tried to forget.
I run an agency by day, but by night,
Happened,
I race. filming a vlog at the track later, but I've been in back-to-back meetings all day. Storage share makes accessing my Galaxy S26 Ultra footage on the Galaxy 6 Pro seamless, so I can get straight into editing. 2 lives, 1 work stream. We practice this. Stick.
This was another nightmare, a reminder of the traumatic events from A Little Lonely. It confirms something we suspected in previous uploads. Player definitely has memory problems. He forgot the entire situation with the pigs altogether. The pork chops, the grave, and Pig 5's identity. His memories flash after being reminded of them, but they are too quick to get specifics. He's experiencing anxiety of doubt over not knowing if he's forgetting something important or not. We're learning a lot about Player and Shroompie, and we are getting very close to what I believe is the end of the first part of this series. There's
First part! This is the first part!
3 more videos we have to watch, after which I will break down what we have so far and tell you my theory as to what I think is going on.
Okay, see, this is actually old. Like, it's looking where it says, but this is, oh, this is like Swedish or Russian, like, or Spanish, right? But like, here,
Solitude is a lot more positive. It's Player talking about their love for the solitude of the game. A drastic change to what just happened. By the way they speak, they seem to be a lot more accepting of their world, and it's also the first time we are in a different version of the game, something a lot more modern. It looks and sounds like they are trying to move on. We're instantly back to Shroompie's beta world, and it's not very pleasant. The video is an interaction between Player and a chicken. They start talking, and the chicken at some point makes its way into Player's house looking for seeds.
You forgot to close the door again.
Oh well, nobody's gonna come in anyways.
Unless someone does come.
So many visitors tonight. So lively. It's quite rare.
I wonder where you keep the seeds.
Player unexpectedly traps the chicken in his house, and the conversation gets pretty uncomfortable. Player says locking the door was just a way to mess with the chicken, and that they did it because they got too excited over someone being in their house. Quickly after, Player offers the chicken seeds in exchange for staying with him, and the chicken obviously declines the offer, pointing out the intense smell of mushrooms in the house. Player keeps pressing and tries to lead them downstairs anyway. He seems very possessive and very dire for any connection with anybody at this point. It comes up as creepy, and only after a painful minute of constantly getting rejected, he finally let the chicken go. The loneliness is getting to him. Maybe one day. Another shift between versions. This time a version that's pretty much up to date with the release of the video. Player is staring at 2 mushrooms as the sun sets. He talks about still trying to go back in time, reminiscing about a happy memory. They hope maybe one day the happiness they felt way back when is going to come back. Suddenly, the video cuts, and they change their mind, saying they need to move on. They start walking away, and the video ends, closing the first part of this channel. So, we have watched and analyzed 23 videos.
20! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
total. A part of a story of 2 people, Player and Shroompie, which, as we have already figured out, are one and the same. Shroompie is using Player as a persona, but we don't know why. We don't know a lot. The amount of questions we have to answer is plainly stupid, but
Big Simon wanted to know, Jimmy, what does the worship do to the Player think? Where is the females and the big, you're saying the mushrooms consume you.
I think I got it. I set up a timeline with all of the episodes we watched in what I believe is the correct order. I scanned them for information for longer than I care to admit, and my theory is this. The character Shroompie is someone that's very mentally ill. Someone who suffers from many disorders. They have trouble with sleeping, hallucinating, stress, anxiety, possible depression, mood swings, and personality changes. They are also
Or maybe he doesn't have any friends.
They keep reminiscing about their former happiness, and it blinds and stuns them. They are constantly bothered by it, and it barely ever lets them go. I think Shroompie has had a very difficult life, and they chose Minecraft as a way to cope, creating a character for themselves, a character named Player. Unfortunately, the character might be something that didn't exactly come voluntarily, as I believe Shroompie also suffers from some sort of depersonalization disorder and dissociative disorder, illnesses that can cause pretty much everything they are struggling with. I think Player is their other personality they switch to. This character is them treating their world as their life, interacting with animals and having entire conversations and scenarios while completely dissociated. I'm about to walk you through the untangled version of 23 videos where I explain my reasoning as to why I think that's the case. The first video on the line is You Are a Stranger to This World. This is the start of Shroompie's beta world. We know it's the same world because of the mountain shown at the end. It appears in the fourth video alongside the two other houses we've seen throughout the series. This could be Shroompie's first attempt at trying to find comfort in beta Minecraft. This might have happened if there's something really negative occurred in their life. Something bad enough to seek comfort in a game they most likely used to play when they were younger, like pretty much anyone watching this. The description further hints at this. The world sees you as a stranger while you try to carve out a safe space to call home. Shroompie may have created this world during a depressive episode where they didn't feel like themselves. They didn't feel like they belonged anywhere, triggering their first dissociation, where they didn't speak or interact with any animals yet. They didn't go by Player either. They didn't fear dark caves or anything for that matter. The VHS filter is low the entire time. It feels almost casual, like they were zoned out instead. But it could also represent a numb state of mind. They might have literally felt nothing at all, just numbness. They walk around lost, looking for a place to settle, something that feels friendly enough to approach and call home, but they don't find it. Just like the title and description said, the world doesn't view them as anything but a stranger. It's an empty and cold world with no comfort inside. The only thing they could cling on to is the song Key. It's played and mentioned on the channel frequently, and I think that's because it played during such a vital time, a time where nothing else felt like it cared. Key was like a helping hand, guiding them through the desolate world. Next up is Minecraft is Terrifying, or I'm Losing My Sanity. And the videos are separated by 12 other uploads, but they actually happen one right after the other. At 1 minute 40 seconds, Shroompie points out a vague cross shape in the mountain, the same cross shape they passed at the end of the last video. Furthermore, later down the line, Shroompie shows their inventory for a second, and if we paid close attention, we can tell it is nearly identical to the point.
Alright, then most of you 3 dots, we put the something down, and maybe take away the C box. Because these are code like you take the first letter of each one, like D, and then maybe P, T, B, A, S, or maybe S. Because this could be like D, like P, B, B, A.
This one.
I don't
I think
know.
what happened is, since they didn't get any other items besides the sapling and seeds, Shroompie stayed under that mountain for the entire night, and moments after sunrise they encountered the sheep, which was a bit of a shock, causing them to break out of the dissociation. The confusion from finding a mob they believed not to exist yet, and the accompanying cave noise brought them back to reality. However, at the same time, the trend of animals speaking to them started. As innocent as this one-off message seems, it soon turns into entire conversations with mobs. We also can't forget about both the, in quotes, ending footage and the creepy sheep jump scares. The VHS footage shows us that during the encounter, they were in fact still in the headspace of
This is someone who's actually prioritized people don't get scared.
the player. They probably put the pieces together by now, but the VHS tapes, I'll call them, are times whenever Shroompie isn't in full control. It appears mostly when player takes over, but it also appears in videos where the name isn't specified. As for the jump scares, they may simply be what Shroompie's imagining due to them being scared. I was watching this video with my boyfriend recently, and he pointed that out. They appeared scared. I was watching this video with my boyfriend recently, and he pointed that out. They appeared on both of the times Shroompie were talking about Minecraft scaring them, and he told me he usually imagines weird, creepy faces or something related to what scares him.
Fantasia, so that one describing it in such detail, not being, let's say, Minecraft videos done and be scared, not being rolled, robot,
This is a video I thought might have been the promised showcase of why Shroompie finds Minecraft scary. It fit perfectly, but now with the added details, I think this is a recording that happened after a brief time skip following Minecraft is terrifying. Shroompie expressed their fear of beta Minecraft, and seeing that pink sheep might have made them go down the rabbit hole a little bit. I imagine
because I've seen a show like pink sheep
they continue to wander around the world looking for those little oddities, growing interest in just how creepy the game can be, though during that time they again switched into player. This video is still early on as they aren't that attached to the game. They acknowledge it is a fake generated world, and also they don't have many items yet. The ones they do have are all surface level things you can easily get in the first few days. And for now, they will be our indicator for the timeline. Video 4. Are you okay? With the knowledge that Shroompie usually goes silent when C418 plays, it's not that big of a stretch to say that in the beginning, the nostalgia or that feeling of comfort would make them freeze up. Though, for some reason, with that came the talking sheep, in reality, being a figment of Shroopie's imagination. Explaining the line, "Look, he's crying." There is the other line, "At least he's too busy to kill me." It looks like that's the sheep's thoughts, but why would Shroompie think that a sheep would think that about them? Is it a little hint towards why they were so uncaring when hurting the second last pig? Could they have some sort of violent tendencies? That I don't know. And I don't know what the whirring sound could mean either. However, the main point of this video is just the fact sheep is talking to player. I believe it stems from loneliness, that this habit of mob stalking Shroompie started as a way to deal with the lack of contact and support from other people. They couldn't possibly make themselves feel better or make them less lonely, so they imagined someone else did it for them. Following the inventory again, insomnia is next. The sleeping problems are right in our faces, but this video actually focuses a lot more on memory loss. The description tells us player is hearing a song in his head that he does not know. However, the wording, a melody he was sure he never heard before, only implies he thinks he doesn't know it. If you look a little lower in the description, the song, which is Chirp, is listed as a source, so Shroompie clearly knows it. It's apparent Shroompie knew the song, but they completely forgot it in the moment, causing confusion. and stress. What's more, the song cuts out when they lay on the bed for one last time, which is when they receive the taunting message, "Have you forgotten?" First time around, I didn't think much of it, but now, this could refer to so many things, with the most uncomfortable one being their own mind cutting out the song midway and them mocking their own memory loss, while dreaming about the insane amount of anxiety they go through when they try to go to sleep, not even knowing whether they are awake or not. A creeper spoke to me. After the literal nightmare they've experienced, they appear in their hut, staring at a creeper who at one point begs them for help. Unfortunately, it's useless, as the creeper is just Shroompie crying out for help to nobody but themselves. When the creeper falls into the cave and the VHS tape rewind sound plays, we see the creeper in the exact same position as they were when the video has started. The dream looped. It's a desperate attempt at wanting to finally snap out of this state, but for now, it continues. Are you sure you want to know? This is the culmination of the past 4 videos. The inventory lines up with the end of Insomnia, player fears caves, the lack of sleep is more apparent, and Shroompie is now full-on talking to a sheep. The conversation between player and sheep confirms 100% that every piece of dialogue is made up by Shroompie. They're all one person. The sheep blatantly admits they're not wise. They're just a sheep, a mob in a game programmed to walk and do nothing. Not long after that, as the conversation goes on, it turns into a continuous strain of thought. The sheep responds to the narrator-like character, which then prompts player to respond to sheep responding to the narrator, and it honestly becomes a mess. These 3 characters leave barely any space in between their words. They just flow together because they know what the other is about to say. However, player is oblivious to sheep's ability to respond to the narrator until his very last words. Wait, how do you know what I'm thinking? Telling us the narrator is just his inner dialogue commentating on what's happening. The video ends with the sheep telling player to wake up, leading us into when you come back to your Minecraft world after a break. A 19-second clip that, without context, seems almost silly to post. However, with context, it becomes crucial. As you can notice, there is no VHS filter, and the name player does not show up. We're back to Shroompie, an exhausted and confused version of them, as they have just woken up from a cycle of nightmares. Insomnia, a creeper spoke to me, and Are You Sure You Want to Know was a part of the collection of 4 dreams we talked about previously, and they happened back to back to back, with the 4th dream nothing unusual happening a bit before the rest, being almost like a teaser of what was about to come. The dreams didn't set off instantly after it though. Shroompie had a break for a while after nothing unusual. The time in between was definitely spent constructing the base we see before us, since we already saw a glimpse of it in the background 4 videos ago in Are You OK? Back to the current video, Shroompie has been drained of energy, and sadly, they get hit with another reminder of their memory issues. They express it with the words, confused and embarrassed. And if you've ever dealt with someone with memory loss, you'll probably agree these 2 words are the most accurate representation of those moments. It's only 2 simple words, but they hit really hard. Currently, our point of contact for establishing the timeline is going to be the moat and how much of it is built. That makes when you suddenly notice the next video in line. It adds a little more terraforming and a bit more water, looking like this is the 1st or 2nd night right after the last video. If we try to analyze who is behind the wheel this time, the no-name specification suggests Shroompie, but the VHS filter leans into player. The pausing whenever C14 plays is a habit they both have, so that doesn't help, and interestingly, the narrator just says the player instead of telling you who it is. It seems it's sort of in the middle, like Shroompie feels so alienated that they can't even specify who they are. Not that they have control over that, they're I guess just in between. between. Though Shroompie appears to be really calm in this state. The static never spikes. In fact, it doesn't just not spike, it's not there at all. I previously said that this video is a lot more chill than the rest, part of that being the calmness of Shroompie, and while that is true, it's also very sad. The inner monologue throughout it implies working on their world and creating all of this is a way to keep themselves busy. They go into autopilot to drown everything out, and once in a blue moon, they get to feel okay for a little bit. Thankfully, the little moment of bliss was enough to keep them in the right state of mind for a while. As in Creepers Feel Lonely Too, the filter disappeared, and Shroompie kept working on the mode throughout the night in peace. They added more height and water. The video is uneventful and normal, because they finally got to feel normal. Not for long, however. Literally minutes later, we switched to the video A Little Lonely. The time difference only indicated by a couple of dirt blocks growing grass. My theory about this video was that this was a checkup. A group of people trying to help player who knew him and knew he was unwell. I still believe that's the case. And adding to that, I think that most likely the pigs were meant to represent a group of friends checking up on Shroompie. The same way the sheep checked up on Shroompie previously, but of course, in both instances, it's supposed to be for the player. It was a group of his friends who tried to be there for him, but also a group who didn't necessarily want to do it. Not all members, at the very least. It's a really strange case because we know that this isn't happening, and it's Shroompie's mind imagining these friends who are trying to help, but it still somehow ends up being negative. There's also a time skip in this video that contains 2 other uploads, but they don't give us much more of the story of player in this group. I'll still quickly tell you the order of the videos though. First up, it's of course the part in A Little Lonely, where most of the pigs die in the unfinished mode. We see the a few days later text, and now we're in When It Rains. The mode is completely filled up with water, and player is expressing his love for rain and says that it takes his mind off of things, clearly relating to him and his friends disbanding. After that, we are in Night Stroll, where player is completely silent while walking around his base, sort of showcasing it, which gives us a view at the mouth that's now circled here, ready for the grave to be made. We cut back to A Little Lonely, and again the outcome is negative. One of the friends, Big 5, comes back, and it feels like player won't be alone, but they die too, abandoning player and Shroompie. To me, this feels like Shroompie's thoughts are seeping through into these imaginary friends. It's not possible for them to actively think badly of player unless Shroompie themselves believes in their words. Shroompie may have the belief unless Shroompie themselves believes in their words. Shroompie may have the belief that they naturally just push people away, that they hurt the people around them. And it's so deep-rooted that even when isolated and in another version of themselves, it's still on their mind. The pigs all went one by one just by being in their vicinity. Nothing really happened for them to die. And one of the pigs said, "Wouldn't you kill me anyways if I wasn't trapped?" Which means Shroompie had to also think at one point they'd be cruel to the animals for no reason. Thinking back all the way to Are You Okay?, where the sheep also said something about player killing them. It doesn't have to stop on just thoughts of hurting and pushing others away. They could think negatively of themselves all around. The next video in line also deals with a mom that doesn't really want to talk with Shroompie and wants to get away from them as soon as possible. The conversation between player and the chicken takes place a long time after the whole incident. The grave is in the middle of the moat with all the names on it, and player's remarks and attitude point to the fact he's been alone for a while. He notices how many mobs there are in his area and says that it doesn't happen often anymore. The chicken tells him he didn't close the door, and he responds that there's not going to be anybody coming anyway. Trapping the chicken inside his house is another thing. He longs for someone to talk to and is willing to trap a mob just so they can continue to talk, no matter how awkward and creepy it is. Shroompie is so alone and so convinced that they're gonna push everybody away by this point that their mind barely gives them a chance for a fake conversation to happen. And when one does happen, it ends up with the mob leaving anyway. Unfortunately, this loneliness will continue with solitude. This is a deceiving video. There is no mention of the name player, it has a positive undertone, and it sounds like Shroompie isn't uncomfortable with loneliness anymore, like they're on their way to start getting better. However, similar to when you suddenly notice, this is Shroompie, again, somewhere in the middle between them and player. Not getting better. They're still dissociating, and they're trying to convince themselves that they're okay with being alone, that they're getting used to the loneliness, but it's not really what they need or what they want. They are in a newer version of Minecraft too, and that almost seems like a deliberate choice to show themselves that they are moving on from the past, but they're still in the same game with the same problems. Maybe one day pushes us into an even newer version and we return to player again. Despite technically moving on further and a substantial amount of time passing, which he describes as been a while, he still finds ways to cling on to the past, specifically to some sort of relationship he had, presented as two mushrooms on a fallen tree. A relationship that we might actually know a little bit about. Player stumbling upon those two mushrooms has brought back unwanted memories of the ordeal with their friends. It triggered a nightmare where Pig 5 drowns in front of her eyes. He is the only one that shows up. The other pigs are merely names on a sign, even the ones that share the conversation with player. Pig 5 appears to be someone closer than the rest. He survived and endured seeing the entire group drown. He still came back to player, and he didn't as much as hesitate when player asked him if he's sure he wanted to be around him after what happened. When he drowned for the second time, pictures of what I imagine to be memories with Pig 5 were flashing in player's head, both of them in his house and around his base. The attempt at trying to move on, which wasn't much, was undone by this nightmare, and it brought them back to square one. Here we are going to stop for a second, because at this point, I've been thinking about these videos as I was writing the script more and more and more and more. And there was just something off. I felt like I wasn't getting the full picture, like something wasn't right. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I've noticed a hint or a code in the background or whatever and it threw me out. No, some of the videos have a certain feeling to them. It's hard to explain, but they fit in the series. They make sense in the story, but they feel out of place. They feel different. A little lonely, especially because I had a theory about what the story of the video was that I already presented to you. The pigs at some point were players' friends and he hurt them somehow and boom. The theory was sound, but it was flimsy. Like, there was a few holes in that explanation, ones that I couldn't just skim past and ignore. So the whole deal is player talks to mobs and apparently he can develop relationships of his own since he was already friends with the group of pigs. But when did that friendship develop? When did the conflict start? And what was it? There was no time for it anywhere, and there was no mention of these pigs prior to A Little Lonely, except a small cameo in Are You Okay, where a pig said nothing. They appeared so out of nowhere, but had such an immense impact on player, and had this backstory to them, which was then expanded in Pork Chop, combined with the time skip videos too. There was a piece of the puzzle missing. Despite painting a timeline and that fits decently, and despite things falling into place one after the other, I didn't feel satisfied. I had the lingering thought that I had to dig in deeper. Like, the atmosphere of these videos felt too different to others. These ones felt almost real. Like, I'm not watching an episode of a horror series or something to that effect, but I couldn't put my finger on why that is. I watched all of the 32 videos, I had the idea of what the entire series was, and then it clicked. I remembered there are more videos on the channel. videos I didn't mention because I never thought I would have to. See, Shroompie's channel doesn't consist of 32 videos, it consists of 60, plus a few shorts. The channel is active, and sometimes they upload videos that are entirely different to the series. There's a silly Minecraft movie review, there's a speed paint of their profile picture, a video where commenters name an axolotl figure. It's uploads I didn't take into account because this felt like one of those channels where the creator either doesn't feel like separating their videos, or they put out random things that are meant to be red herrings, stuff that makes figuring out the series just a little bit more difficult. However, since I was at a standstill, I decided to look through them, and I really don't know what to feel now. We are heading into a part of this video that I'm not excited about, a chapter that is going to change the trajectory of this whole thing. These are the Let's Plays.
What you should get. Holy shit, this place. If I can just go and just look up this and most stomach through into a real life exists.